Namaste, everyone. I want to talk about the subject of life lessons and spirituality, especially spiritual growth. One of the things that I have been learning in my own spiritual growth and the ascension of consciousness and evolution, which means understanding your real nature by direct perception, getting to know who you really are beyond this flesh body and the made up identity. Think about it. This body is made of food. You were very little and you ate food and you gathered material aspects of the earth and the body grew and your identity is all gathered and given to you by your family and society. The question remains who we are beyond all this. Now let's talk about the life lessons. One of the things that I have learned and I am still learning is that seems like, according to my experience and everything that I have studied in all spiritual traditions, you cannot teach the universe. You cannot teach the life lessons. And what I mean is, we are here and we have been given this human body and specific conditions in our life where we have been born and everything that happened in our lives, people in our lives, and all those for us to grow, to change our thinking, to reduce our attachments, to realize what is it that really matters after all? What is the real meaning of life, if you like to put it that way, and all those things. And I realized that there are two groups of people in this world. The number one, which is majority, they just think if they try to get more comfort and pleasure, their life will be okay. And to me, this is an approach of using distractions to just keep yourself occupied with more wishes, more accomplishments, getting more things and more pleasures and comfort and so on. So you can distract yourself from seeking and working on finding what is it that is behind all this and what is the purpose of you being here. I want you to think about this. I want you to go watch some nature documentaries, read a little bit about biology and the wonders of nature. This universe is so vast and so complicated that without exaggeration, even if we want to understand one cell of the body, it might take thousands and thousands of years and we might still not understand the whole of it. Just look at human body. If you were, let's say, a doctor or someone who has studied some things about human body, there are millions, billions of organisms and different living creatures, different reactions, different things that's happening in the body that it's beyond understanding. It's like a universe. So I want to say the distraction is just gonna work like a, painkiller. If you want to avoid life just by distracting yourself, And people do that with so many things. It could be drinks or drugs or pleasure or sex or more goals or ambition or things like that. You can do that, but it doesn't work. It's not gonna get us anywhere. But the second group of people are the people who want to grow, who want to become more, who want to understand more, who want to learn and realize deeper aspects of life. Well, usually people go to philosophy, to spirituality, some religions, and so on to find this. The biggest mistake of religion is to think that you just go follow a religion and get a set of answers and become happy with it. That's actually against this. That's not moving towards finding the truth. And majority of people in this world which call themselves religious, they actually follow a system that has been given to them by their family, parents, and society, and they just accepted it and said, okay, this is it. We're going to do these things. And it has been said that when we die, our soul is going to go to heaven or meet God or whatever. Well, I call this false spirituality. This is a misunderstanding of religion. If you really study religion in depth and go beyond the modifications of it to the core of it, you will see that it has never been about a set of instructions just to how to live and then die and go to heaven. So I was talking about the life lessons. And think about this. There's no way that you can avoid the life lessons. There's something called karma, which is often misunderstood, which means that for every action, there is a reaction. Everything that you do, it's going to come back to you. And you will learn by experiencing the consequences of your actions, whether it was done in this lifetime or in another life, that you should behave differently. You should go beyond that state of being, that level of consciousness. Einstein said that you cannot solve a problem from the same state of consciousness that it was created from. And that also means that the version of you who created the problem cannot resolve the problem, cannot be a better person, a more joyful person, a more even abundant person, more successful person. If you want to get different results in life, you have to become a different person. So a higher level of consciousness just means this. You learn by experiencing different life lessons that comes to you. I want to give you maybe one or more examples. Very common example that many of us have experienced is that sometimes you start a relationship, maybe you were a teenager, and then at some time later you start a different relationship and you experience certain, issues that cause you lack of satisfaction in your relationship. Sometimes I see a lot of people, they say, oh, all the girls are like that, all the boys are like that, blah blah, things like that. And why, when I go to this relationship, all women are like this and they do this? And you see the same pattern keeps repeating itself because relationships is one of the very common ways that we experience the life lessons, the interaction of our souls in the relationship and the energy that comes up causes those lessons to become more intense. You know, for example, a lot of us have experienced this, that people that are closest to us, could be our parents or siblings or so on, they trigger us the most. And you might not get triggered by a stranger, even if the stranger does something much worse, but you get triggered by your dad or mom or whatever. And these relationships teach us to learn to, for example, let go of certain attachments or obsessions or reacting to specific things. So you'll see when you change, when you learn, for example, to not care about certain things, either the person that was doing that behavior suddenly changed, and this has happened to many people, and people don't have any explanations about it. You know, sometimes you change your awareness and your thinking or your beliefs, and then you suddenly see that the other person starts behaving, and you wonder, how is that possible? Well, there are explanations for it spiritually or scientifically, which I don't want to get into it, but just consider the fact that when you change, the energy that you're putting out there that is causing specific reactions from people and specific behaviors change. I have experienced this so many times that, example, you know, something like confidence. If you're truly confident and you feel great about yourselves, you'll see that naturally people will respect you more or something like that, you know. They show good behaviors towards you more, not to be arrogant, by the way, just confident and feeling great and being, you know, centered within yourself. If you're insecure, by the way, you will see that more people will try to, you know, abuse you or take advantage of you, even if you don't necessarily show a different behavior. Just that energy, that body language that you show causes a specific patterns or behaviors from other people to come out. It's very normal thing. For example, I have seen this many times. I have done it myself also. If I'm kind of insecure or I feel some inferiority complex, let's say, towards a person or a situation, even it could be my boss or someone, I clearly see that that person tends to, you know, take take over me or, you know, look down at me or abuse me or something like that. But if I'm feeling confident and great, then a lot of time you see that that behavior doesn't even happen from the other person. It's like, you know, in the wolves or animals, there's an alpha, and it's because of that energy that alpha wolf has that the others kind of follow him, for example, the status or something like that. So this is just an example um, to say that when you change, you see that things around you and in the world also change. And the good or bad part about life, God, universe, I don't know what you want to call it, is that there's no escape from life lessons. Universe is very serious about our growth. It's going to repeat the lessons in countless forms and using different people and events until you say, oh, all right, now I need to behave differently. Now I need to think differently. It's different now. For example, sometimes I have seen this, that I want to try very hard. Well, I consider myself to be fairly intelligent person and have a good willpower, and I want to make things happen, and I'm ambitious, for example, and I work hard and do many things. And sometimes, no matter how much of my intelligence and my, stamina and energy and hard work I put there, it's like things are not moving. And then I realized, especially as a spiritual seeker, that universe, God, is trying to teach me to surrender, to just like let it go. And a lot of time I have seen that I might have done so much. I might have put so much effort to change something. But when I say I just, surrender it to God, to universe, I said, okay, maybe it's not the time for this to happen or something like that. Whatever you say your mindset is. Then I see that suddenly things start shifting. So sometimes you need to learn this lesson of surrender to realize that not everything needs to be controlled by you. Sometimes you need to allow things to happen by themselves, by their natural rhythm. You plant a seed and you try very hard to make it grow faster. You want to find a special, manure or something to put it there, or put more sunlight, artificial sunlight or something. You might only ruin it. And even if it works and the plant grows faster, like, some of these like foods that they grow using hormones or something like that, it's not going to be a natural good, food. So the outcome that you're so seeking sometimes is like that. You can't push it as much as you want. You want to say, okay, I'm going to use the law of attraction. I'm going to use this mantra. I'm going to use this Reiki, this energy, this blah, blah, this visual, this something. And I'm going to try more. I'm going to find more techniques. I'm going to use a better AI prompt to make it happen now. And then it's not happening. Sometimes you try to heal a disease, and no matter how hard you try, how many styles of healing and this type of medicine, this type of herb, this type of supplement you use, you see that it's not working and you wonder why. And a lot of time in disease, there are life lessons. Sometimes the lesson is to learn to take care of yourself, to be more mindful about your attitude. For example, The Art of Balance, which the book I wrote about it, to learn to create balance in different aspects of your life. You can listen to my book, Art of Balance, for free if you go to greatnessglory.com, by the way. So there are many, many lessons, as I said, lesson of self-care sometimes, lesson of just acceptance, sometimes lesson of letting go. Sometimes I see this pattern actually very much in this world. Obsessions. People are obsessed with things, and for that obsession with things, they just can't let it go. They just can't accept things the way they are, and they want to force things. They say, no, this must happen. I must get this person. They're in love with a person that somehow it's not possible for that relationship to happen. Maybe that person is not interested in that. I see people even try to go find some magical solution or, do some, hocus pocus thing, or find a person that does something magical so they can get that person. But that's also pushing against the nature, not respecting someone's free will. Think that, no, this is the only person I'm going to go kill myself if I don't, um, have this person in my life. Or you apply the same example to so many other things for yourself. And there are many lessons like this. So just to wrap up, I wanted to say that we need to understand and learn that you cannot ditch the universe. You cannot escape the lessons. If you learn the lessons, actually your spiritual progress, your progress in life overall is going to happen much, much faster. If you try to do so many things, but not do the thing that is important to change your thinking and your attitude, which is the most important in material and spiritual growth, then it's not going to work. That's why one of the most overlooked aspects of success, healing, spirituality, spiritual growth is change of thinking, change of belief systems. Unless we deeply introspect and find our wrong beliefs and change them, we will be stuck. And I talk about belief systems so much, but just to give you an example, some people have this deep unconscious belief that, let's say, money is evil, for example. And they think, oh, all rich people are filthy, things like that. And then they wonder why there is so much struggle in their lives with money. Because if you program your brain's computer to say money is evil, then your brain is not going to help you get money. You'll always be broken, you'll always be in debt, and you'll always have struggles. Or the same example I told you, if somebody thinks all the women are like this, all the men are like this, in a bad way, you fill the blank, and then they wonder why is it happening? Because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's the thing. Here is the very, very weird and strange and not really explainable, in my opinion, truth of this universe. This is not something which is logical. So you just have to contemplate on it and you see if it's true. And the more you grow, you will understand it. But I have realized this, that the whole universe in a way is just a reflection of the way that you see it, your beliefs and your thinking. And it's not that the world creates your reality. It's that you create the world outside with the way that you think and your attitude. And you'll see, you can experience this again and again with so many things. As soon as you change your mindset about something, you see you get different results in your life. As a final example, one time I was struggling really badly in a business matter. I was really putting a lot of work and I wasn't getting clients. And I got in touch with one of my teachers, sort of therapist, let's say, spiritual therapist. And we worked on my beliefs, my limiting beliefs, my blocks. And imagine by that time, I was putting around a year of work into that project and I didn't have one single client. After I did that process, within 1 or 2 weeks, I got 3 clients. How is that for a miracle? But it's not a miracle. It's the way that this world and universe works. The world, the universe doesn't create your beliefs, your mindset, or your reality. You create your reality. You create the universe that you live in with your mindset. Even in so many spiritual traditions, there have been a teaching that say, in reality, all the whole world that you're experiencing is just a reflection of your mind. That's the meaning of Maya, actually, you know, cosmic illusion, the matrix, and all those things. In a way, nothing can happen to you, nothing, according to spiritual principles. Nothing can happen to you, good or bad, if somehow you have not created it or attracted it. You can be in a like Titanic, for example, and 1 million people can die, and somehow miraculously, if it's not your time, you can survive, or in a different way, or if it's not the right time, or if it's not destined, let's say. But destiny is something that you create for yourself. That's also important to understand, that destiny is not something implied on you, forced on you. You create your destiny, you write it with your thoughts. And I think the greatest secret, if it's a secret, you can say, is that you write the scenario of your life with your thoughts and thinking and beliefs, the thoughts that you keep repeating. And unless you change it, nothing is going to change. So try to pay attention more to these life lessons, to the patterns. See what things keep happening every day, cyclically, every year, every month, in different relationships, different jobs, and with different people. And especially the things that are unpleasant. And ask yourself, it just takes a minute. Just close your eyes and ask yourself, go to your heart, and what is the life lesson that universe is trying to show me? Thank you so much for listening.